Warning, this video contains minor spoilers, and it is highly advised that you read the prequel, or rather the sequel in this case, that is Planetarian, The Reverie of a Little Planet, before watching this video.
Hi.
You know, after watching VV, I'm starting to hate how much robots can hit me in the feels here, and this visual novel is no exception. God fucking damn it!
あらあら。
それでは早速このイエナさんと共に星の世界へと旅立ちましょう。
This story occurs before the events in the Reverie of a Little Planet, back when customers could regularly come to the planetarium, before the world turned to shit. Regardless, it doesn't change what Umemi does, that is to attract customers to the planetarium and give them a presentation of the stars. However, around 10 years have passed since her first assignment, and she starts to act oddly, like walking out regularly and wandering around town, which results in her abandoning her post at the planetarium. Fearing that there may be some kind of malfunction in her software, the staff became worried, and therefore, one of them, the manager, namely Kurashi Satomi, went to follow Umemi in order to find out the causes behind her strange actions. The caring and considerate manager, and the adorable and ignorant robot girl. The protagonist, Kurashi Satomi, is the chief presenter at the planetarium. She was tasked to teach new employees on how to do the presentations, and of course that includes Umemi, who just started there. Initially, she wasn't thrilled about the idea, to the point of commenting that Umemi is not even a person. But the years passed, and the robot girl has grown on her, though it's mainly a professional relationship since they're work colleagues. However, when Umemi starts to act strangely, she became worried, willing to find out what's wrong with the robot girl herself. Not just as a manager caring for her employees, but also as a sympathetic human being. That unfortunately cannot be said the same for Umemi, since she's not a human being. And there's nothing wrong about it. She's just like how she was in the first VN. Kind and friendly, and also ignorant. But not in a bad way. Umemi is a robot. She doesn't recognize common sense or things that may seem obvious to us. She doesn't have feelings or emotions and only does things that she's ordered to do without hesitation. That being said, her voice actress can express great feelings though. I can tell from her works in these three anime. I highly recommend for you guys to go watch them yourselves. They feel very emotional. Just like the first VN, this is how the main menu page looks like. The CG mode and music mode only appears after you've completed the story. The right mouse click or the escape button will give you this pop-up menu where you can access the configurations. There are settings for display, sound, characters, voice, auto mode settings, and finally, the general game settings. Storytelling is also just like the previous VN. There is an ADV style, with relatively large sprites to the side of the background CGs. The art style appears improved here, as you can see between Umemi from Snow Globe and the Umemi from Reverie of a Little Planet. As for the English translation from Snowy Ryujin, I encountered no grammar or spelling mistakes. Thumbs up. Less than 1 hour, guys. It's very, very short, which is not something that you want to hear in bed.
あらあら。
50 minutes to be exact from my playtime and around 1 hour and 13 in VNDB. It's a kinetic novel, so no choices present here. I mean, what do you expect? It's less than an hour long. It would be surprising if it did. But then again, you could guess could, right? No wait, this one is featuring a robot lolly. FBI, open up! I don't really know how to describe the story, to be honest. It doesn't feel simple, nor does it feel complex. There are a lot of themes going on here that show despite the short length of the VN. It is a short story, yes, but it feels enough. The pacing overall feels good, but it could have been better at the beginning because it felt a bit too fast. It would have been nicer to show how Umemi grew on Satoshi more. That being said, the emotional moments do stick, but it's just that it's not heavy, nowhere near as the first VN. Considering that this story is about Umemi's past, it's basically giving more screen time of her, And through her background come several subject matters that are hinted throughout the story. One such example is that robots are taking over jobs, a concern that is very controversial nowadays. The effect of this particular topic is also somewhat shown in this VN. Character interaction is as expected in a work environment, but the character development doesn't really exist much here as there is no need for it, especially for a robot character. And the manager is as how you expect from a normal human being. Satomi does grow, and the impact of her growth matters, but the growth itself is unremarkable. The ending also feels whelmed. Not overwhelmed or underwhelmed, it's just whelmed. It's enough for what you get from the story. Good stuff first, but it starts with a question. How do you treat robots? Think of an answer. And then the second question. How would you treat robots that imitate human emotions? These are questions that Yumemi might raise. As a robot, she takes in orders, registers, and prioritizes them. We might not. As a robot, she never forgets. We might. And as a robot, she brushes off any kind of negative impact towards her, for she doesn't understand pain or suffering. And again, we do. We can choose to retaliate. It really gets to me that the theme of robots imitating humans can bring out strong emotions within yourself, because that was what happened to me. They feel like children that you need to protect because they're so innocent. There are really great stories that depict this conflict, such as Vivi's Flora Ice song or Detroit Become Human. And in this story, you might have an argument for or against robots, and it'll be a dilemma to take sides because both arguments can be convincing. Not to say that these opinions are shown in the story, it's just that the VN shows things the way they are. That's where the world building comes in. It's not much, but it doesn't need to be, because it resembles our current way of life and how robots may affect us in the future. It's fascinating really, because robots have been incorporated into society. They are part of our daily lives. Yet, the overall environment doesn't feel different. It doesn't look futuristic or anything. And that is interesting to see because it's unexpected. Finally, the emotions that you get from Snow Globe is, I hesitate to say nostalgic, but that's how I feel. You would get the best experience only after reading the first VN. And while I see that this story can stand by itself, that it's not wrong to read this VN first, I believe that the impact would be less, given how the plot of both the ends turned out. And with that said, comes the bad stuff, which is not really anything that I disliked. Well, there is one nitpick though. In this scene, Yumemi is pointing out regulations that she is not permitted to tie up her hair. Now, I want to talk about something that is spoiler-ish, so skip to this time slot if you guys haven't read it yet. Akino, if you don't mind. I actually don't have much to say, but I just want to express that I really loved when Yumemi put the order that she received from the boy who fell in love with her as high priority, even to the point of hiding that command in her programming in order to not let the maintenance guys find out about it due to it being a secret. It's just one unsert plot hole that I enjoyed a lot despite it being such a small detail. This kind of writing is touching to me, and it makes me wonder how far can artificial intelligence imitate human nature. To add to that, she carries the order out and acts ignorant when asked by Satomi, like this scene here.
それは分かってるの。そうじゃなくて、なぜあなたは今ここにいるのかって聞いているの。申し訳ありませんが、質問の意味がよくわかりませんでした。
You can bet your ass that she knows exactly what the question means but just doesn't want to answer. It also hits in the feels that she just acts like everything's normal when the boy came back after 10 years as a young adult now just to cancel their engagement. This is why I said what I said about humans forgetting and robots don't. Plus, even if you did remember, staying loyal for 10 years just to get dumped in the end, is a real dick punch. What would that do to a person, psychologically speaking? Because I know that I might not be able to handle that. But anyway, I digress. Let's head on to the next section. There are several things that are different between the VN and the anime adaptation. One obvious example is that in the VN, Yumeme's eyes are a mixture of colors, whereas in the anime, they're just green. Another example will be the side characters. In the VN, they don't have sprites. But of course, in the anime, they're shown. These details may seem minor, but the real major ones are the absence and addition of scenes between the two mediums. The main takeaway is that there are less writing in the anime, like Satomi's thoughts, for example. That being said, the anime adds compensating scenes, which polishes the VN. It adds moments that are appreciated into the story, which in my opinion makes it better. What the VN doesn't have, the anime makes up for it. And to be honest, I enjoyed the anime more than the VN. Plus the ending in the anime is better. Well, not exactly the ending, but more like the cuddling phase. I prefer the outcome in the anime more, honestly speaking, and therefore I would recommend for you guys to read the VN first and then watch the anime afterwards, if you guys are willing. All in all, I think that Planetarian Snow Globe is a nice addition to the series. It complements the original, but that's just it. It's not as good as the Reverie of a Little Planet, but I don't think it's trying to be. You get what you expect, and then some. But what you expect should first come from the first VN, which in my opinion is a story that people should read before this one for the best experience. Therefore, the Degen score is an 8. It's not a necessary addition, but it's highly recommended, especially if you have around an hour to spare. And with that said, that's all for me. Hope you guys can like and subscribe if the content is degenerate enough. Later, gents.